My name is Amanda Chapman, or I go by Mandy most of the time. I'm the Assistant Director for Master's Programs in the Department of Business Administration in our College of Business. So I work with a couple of different master's programs, but the one that I work with the most is the one, as Sarah mentioned, has the natural synergy really with NOBE, and that's the Master of Science in Technology Management. So that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So I don't mean for this to be a very formal presentation. Certainly if you guys have questions as we go along and you want to throw things out at me, feel free to do that. I've already warned my table back here with my people that if there's things that they feel like you guys should know, some of you have heard my presentation already, to go ahead and jump in. So I mean for this to be sort of a very interactive session, if that works for you guys. Good, okay, so I've been working in higher education for about 12 years. I was at Illinois State University for about 10 of those years, and so I'm relatively new to the University of Illinois. I've been there for about 2 years, but it's been a great 2 years. So if you guys ask me questions about campus or athletics and stuff like that, I may not be able to answer it. Our campus is massive. We have 44,000 students. So I don't even know all of the buildings, even though I learn new stuff every day. Every time I venture out, I'm like, oh, where did this come from? And what is this? And it's a really cool place. So certainly ask. In between the 6 of us, we should be able to answer those types of questions. Okay. All right. So with that, we'll get started. I'm gonna bring up my presentation. Okay, so here's my opening slide. This is a picture of our quad at the University of Illinois. It's a really cool place. It's a very vibrant place. As I mentioned, we have 44,000 students. Most of those are undergraduate students, but we are a Research One institution, so we do have lots of graduate programs. Okay, lots of opportunities for master's degrees and PhDs. Our campus is a place where lots of students hang out. They do all sorts of cool things. In the winter, of course, you're building snow people out there and making snow angels and all those things, right? So that's just to give you kind of an idea of our setting. So everyone, where are you guys from? What institutions?
Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Penn State.
Penn State? Drexel. Okay. Drexel? McGill. Okay, great. So some people ask me where we're at. And so I kind of like this map of Illinois. It looks old, because it is. We were established in 1867. You'll see our seal up here. Champaign-Urbana is, I know it's really fuzzy and hard to read, but we're over here, okay, in this part of the state. So we're a little bit insulated there, I think it's fair to say. We are a great, vibrant town. Much of that is campus town, but we do have a lot of professionals that live there as well. But Chicago is about 2 hours. Indianapolis is there. St. Louis is a couple hours. So there's big cities in either direction. And a lot of times my graduate students tell me this is a great place to study and do, especially a graduate program, because there's not a ton of distractions. It's a small community. It has a great feel. Someone's laughing back there. She's like, no, there's tons of distractions. But, you know, if you want to get away for the weekend and stuff like that, you have those opportunities available to you too. So things are within reach there. So we kind of like it. And here's another picture of corn in case you didn't get the impression earlier. So we have a big ag program there too. So we're kind of known for engineering and business, but a lot of people go there for agriculture. So I'm not going to go much into the university itself. You're all very smart people, and you can find that stuff out on, you know, the internet, on our website. You can go out and look at our facts and our rankings and all that kind of stuff. I really want to focus more in on some of the options that you guys have available to you as undergraduate students trying to figure out the next steps. Okay. So I'll kind of talk a little bit, just touch on a few of the things about our College of Business. Okay, so we have 3 departments within our College of Business. We have Accounting, Finance, and Business Administration, which is my department. We also have our MBA program, which doesn't necessarily exist within a department. It sort of lives under the umbrella of the College of Business, okay? I don't work with the MBA program necessarily. I collaborate with them, but I don't work with them. So if you guys have questions about MBA, I can certainly try to answer them, but I'm probably going to direct you to the folks in that program for more detailed information. So we can certainly try those. You'll see here we have some stats about the number of students enrolled in our College of Business right now. We have 58,000 living alumni, which I think is astounding. A huge network of people coming out of the College of Business. We have lots of great resources in our College of Business, like Business Career Services, which is, they do a bang-up job of helping students get placed in those careers that they're after, right after graduation. And I'll go into a little bit more about that and how that relates directly to this master's program that I'm going to introduce to you. We also have Illinois Business Consulting, which is a student-run consulting group, which you work with your clients. This is great experience that you can get if consulting is a career path that you're considering. We have the Market Lab, or Market Information Lab, where students can get financial certifications and things like that by dropping in for sessions. We also have the Maker Lab, which is our 3D printing lab, which is the first 3D printing lab that is housed in a College of Business. So pretty cool stuff that we have there. We have all sorts of measures of excellence. I'm not going to go through all of that, but you can kind of see where we're ranked on some of the highlights there. Okay, with that, I'm going to get into the, we call it MSTM, the Master Science and Technology Management Program. So as Sarah kind of mentioned, there's just a natural synergy between NOBE and this program. And I was so excited when we had our past president at the Illinois chapter, Avi, approached me and he said, how do we not know about each other? So we started talking and we realized, gosh, this is just too perfect. So, so that's what we're going to focus in on today. But certainly, you know, we have other master's programs. I'm sure you guys are considering lots of different things. So just so I have an idea, who is an engineering student in here? Oh, wow. Okay. And business? Okay. Other?
I don't know. We're like, our Drexel is business and engineering. Like,
okay.
We have business, engineering, and then both.
So you just very focused.
So yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Any music majors in here? No? Okay. Didn't think so. All right. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about what MSTM is. What the curriculum is all about. I think what you'll find is it's a very unique kind of master's program, not your typical master's program, okay? We'll talk about the types of students that enroll in the program, and I can tell you by the hands that are raising, you guys are the typical kinds of students that go after this program, but we'll get into the details of that. We'll talk about how students apply to the program, and certainly I'll address questions at the end, but if you have them now, feel free to let me know. Just jump right in, okay? Sound good? Yes, okay. All right, so what is it? The MSTM, the Master Science and Technology Management Program. It's a little bit misleading. Has anybody looked at our website ever? Maybe you guys have? It's a little bit misleading. Sometimes people think because we have the word technology in the degree name that we're an IT program, or you know, there's something with computer science or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with those things, but that's just not us, okay? This is an entirely business program. The curriculum is all business courses, okay? So we think about technology, we strategize about technology, you know, we think about how to leverage it, how to use it efficiently, how businesses can use it. So those are the types of things that you're focusing in on in this program, okay? So it's more of a management perspective kind of program. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. So what it involves is about 40 hours of business coursework. We do professional development, and we call that Frontiers in Technology, and it's packed right into the curriculum, and I'll talk about how that works in another slide. And sometimes that involves speakers, workshops, corporate visits and stuff. I'm sure you guys kind of do that already. Yes, a little bit as undergrad? Good, okay. It also involves a practicum project. So this is considered a professional program, okay? So most master's programs, many master's programs require you to write a thesis. Yeah, you guys are kind of shopping around, maybe thinking grad school, maybe thinking going into the workforce, yeah? Not sure? Okay, that's why you're here, right? To kind of figure it out, talk to people, figure it out. Okay, so if you're shopping for graduate programs, you know that many, many times they're going to make you do, a certain number of credit hours, and they're going to turn you loose to do a thesis. This is not that, okay? This is very, very different than that. This is a professional program. There's really no research involved. We're much more concerned about you getting tangible, practical experience that you can apply directly when you leave us or leave this program and then go into the workforce, okay? And I'll talk about the practicum project in greater detail. And this is kind of the unique thing about this program. So we do all of this in 12 months. This is a one-year program. So Master of Science in 1 year, quick, right? Very, very quick, very, very intense, okay? It's a year you may not sleep. We actually tell the students in orientation sleep is optional. So it's actually very doable. Time management becomes a critical skill that you hone. It's like sink or swim. You either can time manage well or not, and you have to do it in this program to get through all of that. Did you have a question? Or you just kind of, okay. All right. So when we talk about the program, I think about it as having 4 components or 4 pillars, if you will. So the first one is the core business. And this is very, very similar to courses that you would find in an MBA program. In fact, they're the same courses that you find in our Illinois MBA, okay? So these are the courses that are down here in orange. So we're talking about, strategy, leadership and teams, accounting, finance. What else do we have there? Simulation and risk, those types of courses. So our MBA students that are coming out of Illinois are also getting these courses, as well as MSTM students. They don't take them together. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the structure of this program and how we run it, but same courses, same faculty, okay, just different programs. The courses in blue, or the second pillar, are what we consider to be the technology management courses. So these are a little bit more of the sexier courses, if you will, the ones that students get really excited about: tech strategy, managing innovation, new product development, entrepreneurship, things of that nature. Okay, those are your technology management courses, and the practicum fits right in there as well. The gray bar here along the side that I'm sure nobody can read is called the Frontiers in Technology. That's our professional development. Okay, again, it's considered part of the curriculum. It's just what we expect you to do as a business student and as an MSTM student, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the last component, as I mentioned, is really the practicum. I mean, that's a huge undertaking that you go through. So that's kind of the broad strokes of the curriculum. Here's a closer look at how this works. So I'll talk a little bit in a future slide about the 2 different tracks of students that we have. One of the tracks, though, is for graduate students, or we call grad track. So these are for students much like yourselves. Anybody have work experience in here? Like full-time, graduated full-time work experience, not internships or anything like that. Of course you do. So most of you in the room would fit into our graduate track. So if you shop for MBA programs, many MBA programs require you to have a few years of work experience before they'll even look at your application. This is a little bit different. So we know that there's students out there that really want that business acumen before they can even go out into, get that experience. And so that's what we talk about when, we think about the graduate track. Okay, so students like yourselves with really no professional experience, but lots of great internships, lots of great other experiences, okay? This is what the curriculum would look like for you, or the path that you take. So we get started in the summer with 2 courses or 6 credits. And then you'll see in the fall and the spring, it really ramps up into a heavy load, okay? And this equals 40 credit hours. It seems like a lot, especially for grad level courses, right? But we do this by chunking pretty much everything into 8-week modules, okay? So it's quick. When you think about who's taking midterms right now, who's getting ready to? Yeah, our students are taking finals. So anybody else run on that kind of a modular? You guys do? Okay, so you understand the feeling of how that is. You don't get bored. there's no time to get bored, right? That's one of the nice things about this. You know, it's so fast and it's very fast paced and you move really quickly through it. It's not that you don't have time to digest the material. It's just that, you know, each thing builds on itself. And so we have to keep you moving. We keep that momentum going. Okay. There's two exceptions to this. We do not accelerate accounting and we do not accelerate finance. It makes me sweat to think about condensing those courses into 8-week courses. Okay, so those are full 16-week courses that run the duration of the semester. So, any questions about this? Yes, sir.
If you're coming from an undergraduate institution that is taking some of these courses, would you receive credits for them or not?
Typically, no. That's a great question. With some small exceptions, but usually because of the structure of the program, we want everybody to have these courses, well, A, at the graduate level, because we see a lot of undergrads that have taken some of the, like, the core business. But I mean, if you've done it at the graduate level, we might be able to talk about it, but usually no.
Even if they have the same content?
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of, we would have to look on an individual basis. Okay. And we'll talk about, I'll touch on that a little bit later when I talk about some of the variability, but yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. This is where it really becomes unique. So I'm not sure how Drexel is in terms of your program, but this is a cohort-based program. Are you guys cohort-based? Where you all move through at the same time, at the same pace?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So that's your freshman year. So you have your fall quarter, winter quarter, spring quarter, and then your off summer quarter, and then you're divided up starting your sophomore year. You can either, depending on what track you choose, you have the 1 co-op, 3 co-op, or no co-op. But hardly any students really do no co-op.
Okay.
Either you choose 1 or 3, and that'll determine your program score over 5 years.
Okay.
And then once you're in that track, you'll either be in class fall winter or working fall winter, and then vice versa.
Okay.
So everyone kind of, you move in a group, it's a really small group.
Got it.
But everyone is moving at different times too.
Yes. Okay. Good to know. Okay. So this is, everyone is doing this all together all at the same time. So since it's 1 year, we admit the students. And so our grad track that's coming in this summer that we're admitting right now, they're going to move through this entire curriculum, all of these courses together as a group. We hope to expand our seats a little bit to meet the demand. So we are hoping to admit about 60 to 65 students into this track. And those 60 to 65 students are the people you spend a year with. Okay, so you're in every class together, you're in teams. This is a highly, highly collaborative program. Okay, so tons of teamwork. You guys have all done that a little bit, right? At least, yeah. Anybody love teamwork? Some of you? Good. That's awesome. I talk to students, they're in my office, you know, they want to talk about the program. They're like, oh yeah, I'm great at teamwork. It's, you know, I do it all the time. And then they get halfway through the program and they're like, I had no idea what it meant to really be on a team and have to go through the paces with people like this. So it's a very diverse program. We have students from all over the world, which is one of the coolest things about it, I think. And so your teams are structured so that you are with people who are very, very different from yourself. Okay, so it makes you really think differently and appreciate different perspectives. Okay, so when we say diverse, we mean, of course, culturally and ethnically, but also in academic profile. So no offense to all my engineering students in here, but we don't want 65 engineering students in the class. Okay, we want people that bring different things to the table. Okay, so we think about that a lot. All right, I'm going to show you something really quick. As we're talking about the curriculum, one of our professors, this will give you just a very small snippet of the kinds of things that you might talk about. This is Professor Raj Eshambati, and he teaches new product development in the program. And I'm just going to preface this with, Raj is one of the favorite professors. Our students love Raj. I think he was a little camera shy because he comes across as very serious in this video. His message is good, but Raj is usually very excited and, exuberant and stuff, and it just doesn't come through on the video, but students love Raj, so.
My name is Raji Chimbardi. I'm a professor in the Business Administration Department in the College of Business. My research is in the area of strategic innovations. How should firms learn to exploit and explore innovations at the same time in order to remain profitable? This topic is very important because look at the world around you. There are massive changes that are happening, nonlinear changes that are happening in the business world because of A, technology changes, and B, because of hyper competition. Forcing John Chambers, the chairman of Cisco, to say that the average life expectancy of a Fortune 500 company is now 15 years. So what is the way out for companies? Companies should learn to become innovative leaders. Companies should learn to change the rules of the game in order to survive. There are three components to this strategy. Companies should learn to create value, should learn to capture that value in order to appropriate price premiums, and last but not the least, sustain that value in order to remain profitable over a long period of time. This topic is very important because future managers must understand these components in order to survive and thrive in the modern business world.
All right. Okay, so we'll kind of move on from the curriculum. This just gives you an idea, and we can certainly talk about, if you guys have questions about the curriculum, I can certainly address any of those. Especially in that first summer, I always get questions about the internship, and so we can talk about some of the parameters of that. If you have questions about that, just let me know. Okay. All right, so aside from the curriculum, something that we think about in the College of Business, and probably most colleges of business, is experiential learning, okay? As I mentioned, this is a professional degree, and so we want you to have really great hands-on experiences. We want you to take the concepts that you're learning in the classroom and really apply them and see how they're applied in the business world. So, as I mentioned, Frontiers in Technology is built right into the curriculum. It's part of it, and so this is what we do. We've got speakers, we bring tons of people in to talk to you guys. A lot of times there are MSTM alums who have a real passion for helping other MSTM students either break into a certain area, or if they're trying to get in with Microsoft or Deloitte or one of those big companies. These are the people, these are the connections that you have to start making. So it's not always what you know, it's who you know, right? You guys know this already. This is not an exhaustive list. This is just to give you an idea of some of the people that are coming to talk to us. Archer Daniels Midland, John Deere, Deloitte, we have a bunch of people up there. Field trips, places we go. The picture in the middle there is Caterpillar in Peoria, Illinois. Somebody asked me where Peoria. Oh, we had to go. Okay. I had a student who's like, I was born in Peoria. So Caterpillar is really cool. Has anybody ever had a chance to go see their operations? No? It is amazing. It's outstanding. It really is. So if you can imagine being in the classroom learning about process management, project management, supply chain, all of those types of things, and then you go to Caterpillar at the end of that week and see all of this stuff happening at a global, one of the world's biggest global manufacturing companies, it's so cool. So those are the kinds of things that we want to do for you in the program as a student, okay? And here's some of the other places that we've gone as well. So we also have a big research park out at the University of Illinois. You guys know about Research Park, right? You've all been there. Do anybody have internships out there? You do? Awesome. Okay. So maybe you can help me out with this. We have lots of big companies out there that have a presence. Yahoo, John Deere, Caterpillar certainly does. Anheuser-Busch or AD and Bev. They're not doing beer research. They're doing market research. They kind of are doing data analytics kinds of things out there. Where are you at? With Dow? Okay. So we have lots of big companies right at our fingertips that are right there as part of our actual campus. Okay. They exist on our campus. There are companies they're small branches of their companies, and they're out there basically to partner with the university and our research, because we do so much research out there. They're trying to figure out how to do, different areas of their business better, or, whatever. So, all right. So the practicum, that senior capstone project that I was telling you about. Again, this is packed right into the curriculum. It's part of that 40 hours that you do to complete the degree. This is typically in your last semester, and everybody does practicum together, just like they do the rest of the program together. And so it's very cool because it's done in teams. You have real clients. Actually, the director of our program, Jeff Kurtz, was out in industry for a number of years before he came to the university, and so he has lots of connections across different industries. And so he brings that into the classroom. And so some of those are the clients, but he's always working to get new clients and stuff that our students work with to do these projects. And so it's a consulting-based project. Many times companies have some sort of business product or business problem that they're looking for our students to solve, or they have some sort of technology-focused issue. It's just a wide variety of different projects. So to give you guys an example of this, I got a list here, but I think this is a cooler example. We had a startup company out at a research park called Rhythmio last year. And they won a bunch of tech competitions. It was started by one of our engineering PhD students. And so they had this amazing technology, okay? What they did, everybody knows what a Fitbit is, yes? So they look at wearable devices, but they took technology that they used to track missiles and applied it to this. So it's much more like gesture recognition, and so people can use this, like anybody lift weights in here, do weightlifting and stuff, so it can tell you all kinds of data that a Fitbit couldn't tell you. It's just much more sophisticated, okay? So they had this amazing technology. They had no idea what to do business-wise with it, okay? So they came down STM, and so that was one of the practicum projects. So we had a team of 7 people on that practicum, and they helped them strategize, they helped them come out with a business plan and business models and all of that stuff. So, we had a couple engineers on that team that understood the technology aspects of it, but then we also had, all that business knowledge from the last year, right, coupled together. So it made for a really great pairing. And as a result, actually, one of the MSTM students got hired on Rhythmio and is now their business their business strategist for the company. They've expanded. They're up in Chicago now. So kind of a cool success story. All right. So professional development. I know we talked about frontiers and technology. That's actually part of the curriculum. This slide is also part of the program, but not necessarily the curriculum, okay? These are the types of things that we want to do with you while you're a student with us, okay? It's a very, very quick year. And we understand, and we want great students in the program. We want brilliant students in the program. And we want students to be academically successful, but to be completely honest with you, we care so much more about who you're going to be when you leave us. You're only with us for a year. And when you think about the time, that time compared to the time you're going to spend in the workforce, in your careers, that's so much greater. And so what we try to do is give you the tools to make things, to make that an easy transition for you, and to give you the tools for the types of experiences that you're going to have when you leave Illinois. Or, this is stuff you should consider for any graduate program if you're thinking of it, okay? So we do seminars on business etiquette, cultural sensitivity, communication, team building is a huge one. We do team building right in the beginning because there is so much collaboration that happens in the program and all the teamwork that you have to do. So this picture is a great example. The students doing all of these awkward things up here, that's one of the first days that we go out. We take the students into the woods. I put my sweatpants on and my tennis shoes, and we go and we do all of these things. We have these facilitators who kind of put people in teams, and nobody knows each other at this point because it's beginning. And you can imagine that when you have your head in someone's armpit for a couple of minutes in August, that you're going to get to know people really well. So it kind of breaks down those barriers and those walls that sometimes you have, makes you think outside the box, helps you understand what it's like to strategize as a team. You know, we have some experts in team building and stuff that are there to help bring that experience full circle. So it's one of the students' favorite days. I think it's one of my favorite days. So it's a lot of fun. I will tell you that, and this is true probably of any business school, but recruiters that come to Illinois have an expectation that our students can collaborate, that they are solution driven, and that they can work with people vastly different from themselves. We're one of the most diverse campuses. College of Business is no exception. So that's just an expectation. And we do our level best to really live up to that. And so team building is a very big deal. Okay. There's some workshops down here that I won't really talk too much about. They're not as exciting. So statistics, Excel, you know, no one gets excited about that. Okay, so the last part of experiential learning is some of the bigger trips that we take as a program. Every year we go out to San Francisco. Anybody been? Lots of you? Yes. It's so cool out there, right? So many fun things happening, startups, huge startup community, all of the tech firms. And so every spring break, we take the students out there. It's optional. Students do not have to do that. If you want to go to Cancun for your spring break, more than welcome. But we do it as a program for a couple of different reasons, because we have lots of connections out there. So many of our alums go out to San Fran or the Bay Area. And so we can easily get into Microsoft and Google and Facebook and a lot of those places and bring our students in and talk to some of the senior leadership. So it's a really cool thing, because I will tell you, and you guys probably already know this, once you're working, you can't just go knock on these people's doors and say, hey, I would really like to talk to your CEO and hear some of your business strategies, right? But those are the types of opportunities you have available to you as a student. And so we try to build that right into the program. And so that's just an example of some of the places that we've gone. It changes from year to year. You know, it depends on where the students want to go. We take that into account, and we try to build a really good week experience. So the other skyline up there is Austin, Texas. And we have not gone to Austin yet, but it's some place we would like to go because it's a very cool up and coming place. Anybody been to Austin? Yeah? I haven't been there, but I hear good things. We have some alums there, and you know, and as far as the tech industry goes, we know that that's a really cool place. So the nice thing about our program is that it's flexible. This kind of stuff is very flexible. So we try to, roll with it. We try to, business and technology. I mean, technology changes every day, right? And so we try to stay current with all of the stuff that's happening. So, and that happens in the classroom as well with the curriculum. Our professors are able to structure things so that students are learning the latest material. Okay, all right. So as I mentioned, what types of students enroll? Certainly engineering students are a huge, I don't want to use the word customer, but they're a big group of students that are usually very, very interested in this program. I hear over and over and over again that engineering students in particular say, I have such great technical skills, I just don't want to do this particular part of engineering for the rest of my life. And so what we find is that this is a great pairing because it gives you a different set of skills, okay? The business acumen is invaluable. It teaches you to think differently from a different perspective. And so that's a very, very attractive thing to students coming from the STEM backgrounds, not just engineering, but we have students from biology and the sciences and math and stats and actuarial science, all of that stuff. So we have students from all over. But certainly engineering students are one of the biggest groups of students that we see that are interested in this program. As I mentioned, we have the 2 tracks, the graduate track, and we also have the advancement track. The advancement track is designed for students, well, I shouldn't say designed, because it's the exact same curriculum. It's just that we kind of separate the students into the 2 tracks based on their professional experience. So advancement track students have anywhere from 2 years of professional experience. We have some with 25 years. sometimes 30 years. They're at the end of one career, they want to do something totally different, and so they see this as a vehicle to be able to kind of propel them in a different direction, okay? Either track, we hear over and over again, I had no idea that I had so many different opportunities available to me, okay? Coming out of this degree, especially if you have a really different background. So not the business students can't find value in this. We do have, you'll see in another slide, we do have business students that come through this program to deepen and really get a better understanding of business and how it works, especially in the tech sector. But that's kind of the difference between the two tracks. Anybody have questions about that before we move on? No? Okay. I will say this. The only difference, like I said, the curriculum is the same. They're just staggered start dates. Okay, so our graduate track students start in summer. Our advancement track students start in August. So that's the way it is right now. That might change. Okay, just to give you an idea, just kind of some of our statistics. The students that we have for this year that are in our classroom right now, for the graduate track, we have about 50. And as I mentioned, we have a really pretty high demand for the program, so we are looking to increase the number of seats that we offer to 60 to 65, depending, okay? Average age is right in line with students that are coming right out of undergrad as 23 years old. And this year we have about 9 different countries represented. Out of our graduate track, I'd say about half of the students are coming from the University of Illinois as undergrads. The other half come to us from all over the world, which is pretty cool. Okay, our advancement track, we have a few more students in there. Average age is about 30, which is right in line with, students who have a little bit more professional experience. And we have a few more countries represented. You'll see here in the pie chart, most of our students, and this was the same in the previous slide as well, most of our students are coming to us from STEM, so science, technology, engineering, math backgrounds. Okay, certainly we have students who are interested that come from psychology, sociology, econ, lots of those other majors. We love that too, because they bring a totally different set of skills to the table. So it's really cool to be in a team with people who have had really, really different educational backgrounds than them. All right. So why would you choose a program like this? And so I guess this is where we can kind of talk. You guys have lots of options, right? You guys are thinking, some of you are thinking about going right into industry. Some of you might be thinking of grad school, right? Some of you might be thinking of other, has anybody heard of this program or a program like this before today? You have? A couple of you? Okay. So certainly this is another option that we wanted you guys to know about, okay? But coming from being part of NOBE, obviously helps, and then coming from really great institutions, coming from engineering or business, coming from those backgrounds, you have more options available to you than most students. You guys have positioned yourselves in a really good place, okay? So options are good, right? Okay. So this is some of the things that I hear about MSTM, why students come into the program. They find that they make themselves more marketable. I'm sure you guys kind of got that throughout the presentation. Some of the skills that you gain with that business acumen makes you more marketable, opens doors for more opportunities. Okay, something I want you guys to think about is, it's one thing to graduate. And I'm sure this is on the mind of many of you as you entertain job offers, right? You guys have, some of you have offers right now? Yeah, a few of you? Good. As you think about that and you weigh kind of your options, pros and cons, going into the workforce now is one thing, and that certainly can be a very, very good, attractive option. We understand that. And many times you'll get in with a company that will support professional development and will pay for you to go get a master's degree. You can't ask for a better scenario than that. If you guys have those opportunities, take them. We'll tell you that. I did that, okay? I did my master's for free. I didn't pay a dime for it. But that's not the case for everybody, okay? So if you're thinking about, grad school now, think about in 7 years, okay? Might be married, might have a mortgage, might have some children, or just maybe a dog, who knows? You have some responsibilities, right? It's going to be really hard to go back to school. People do it all the time, and it's perfectly fine. But it gets a little harder, okay? So it's one thing to kind of just power through, get the master's done, and then when those leadership opportunities come to you, when you're working for a company and they say, hey, we'd love to promote you. We want you to be, our senior product developer. But you need a master's, And so we see that all the time, especially with our advancement track students, because they were literally at a point in their career, they couldn't move up anymore. It's not that they weren't intelligent enough or they didn't have the skills. They literally just didn't have the right credentials. And so don't let that be a barrier. So whether it's MSTM or another master's program that you're thinking about, you have to think long and hard about that. So that is one of the reasons why we see students coming into this business program. It is a one-year program, which is an attractive option because you get into the workforce faster and you spend less time in school. Like I said, it's an intense year. It's not an easy year by any means, but just these are things to consider. I'm sure that's on the mind of many of you, right? Kind of, yeah? I'm seeing some head nodding. Okay. Another reason why people choose MSTM as their graduate program is because we're actually STEM classified. And this is a classification given by the Department of Homeland Security. And so what that means is our international students are able to take up to 29 months of OPT. I don't know if that means anything to any of you in this room, but for international students, that's a very big deal. So they have more time to work after post-graduation without having to be sponsored on an H-1B visa. We're one of few programs, business programs that are STEM classified in the country. So, all right. Another, as I mentioned in one of my opening slides, being part of the College of Business at Illinois is a really cool thing. So you have lots of resources. As I mentioned, we have business career services. They work a ton with our master's students. So it's not something that is just there that exists for undergraduates. We have a whole team devoted to master's students. So, we have other master's programs in the college. Obviously, we have finance, accounting, we have MBA, we have a Master of Science in Financial Engineering. So our business career services does an amazing job to help students get prepared for opportunities. Will they get you a job? No, but they will help you. They're going to do everything for you, okay? But it's up to you to ultimately go out and take those resources and tools and do something with it, okay? They do lots of workshops on different things like personal branding, and they'll look at your resume umpteen times as you're going through job interviews. They'll do mock interviews for you. Many times we have data on different companies and their interviewing style, and as you go round and round and round, what those different rounds look like and what they require. And so you can go to our business career services and say, hey, second round with Deloitte, what can I expect? And they're going to have that information for you. So, so we're really proud, and they work really closely with our program. The advisors actually come to our social events, and they try to get to know the students. So we're a small program. That's one of the luxuries. We're in a campus of 44,000 students, but we're a small program. So I'm part of the program staff. We have other staff members as well. We get to know the students on a very personal level, and we get to know what you guys want to do after graduation. And so when opportunities come, we try to, push those opportunities to the students. Like, I have one student who's interested in game theory, and he wants to work for a company that does gaming. And so, that's kind of an outlier, but when we hear things like that, we make him aware of them. Okay, so that's just an example. All right. I already talked about the network and how many students we have. We have 58,000 alumni, huge. Companies, it's a big deal. Recruiting at our campus. In the fall, we had 238 companies come for our business career fair. That's just business. We have campus-wide career fairs for everybody, but just for business, we had 238 companies. We have a second career fair in the spring, and that was always smaller, and we had about 180 companies at that one. So have you guys been to the business career fair? It's huge. It's a little overwhelming. So, okay. So this is kind of what everybody always wants to know. Like, what do you do with this degree? And there's just not a clean answer for this because it is very, very transferable. These skills are very transferable. So it somewhat depends on what your background is. Engineering students typically don't necessarily want to go into engineering per se, and that's what kind of drives them towards business. And then they can do a lot of different things with the 2 degrees together. It's a nice pairing, okay? So we see students do, developer types of jobs. Many, many students go into consulting. I would say about 75 to 80% of our students are interested in consulting. And certainly the big 4 consulting firms are a huge fan of our MSTM students and snatch them up very fast. But we also have other consulting firms too, some smaller ones that we work with. Let's see, project management is a big one that students go into, business analysts. Some are just entrepreneurs. I think you guys heard about an entrepreneur last night, right? With the food truck? Yeah, cool stuff, right? So just depends on what your dreams are and what you want to do. Some students come to us from international places and their family owns a business and they're expected to take over the business, but they understand that they need to know more about how business is done in the US. So they come and they do this degree and they go back and run those businesses abroad. So just depends on what you want to do. We have some students that come to us from degrees like microbiology that may have been pre-med at one time, and they decide, I do not want to be a doctor. I do not want to go through all of that. But they have a real passion for healthcare, and so they find this program. They go through it, and then they can do healthcare consulting, or strategize, business solutions in healthcare. This really fits a lot of different types of industries. Okay, depends on where your interests lie. All right. So our admission criteria, we look for a B or better, 3.0 or better in your last 60 hours. We don't really look at your freshman, sophomore year. Quite honestly, we know that's sometimes a weird time for students where sometimes mistakes happen. No one really wants, to claim those grades sometimes. So we really kind of care about what happened in your major. Okay, so that's what we focus more on. We'll look at a resume, we'll see what kind of internships you've done, and I know a lot of you in this room have done a ton of internships, especially the Drexel people with the co-op, and you have lots of opportunities. I'm sure many of you have done a bunch of different internships, so that's a fabulous piece to your resume that we will look at. We look for 3 letters of reference, pretty self-explanatory. Transcripts, if you're U of I, you don't have to submit them, we can get them ourselves. Everybody else has to submit a transcript to us. And then there's an application fee for international students not earning a degree from a U.S. institution. They have to submit English proficiency score. Yes, sir.
That doesn't include Canada. Does that include Canada?
Yes. Yeah, you're good. Good question, though. Anybody notice anything that we may have left off?
No GRE.
There is not. So we actually don't require GRE or GMAT score. Okay, so that's probably a little bit atypical from what you've seen. We don't necessarily believe that it's the best indicator of someone's ability. And like I said, we want academically successful people. We feel like we can discern that from the other materials that you submit to us. But we really want well-rounded people, okay? So we look at a variety of factors, and that one wasn't as important to us. So we don't require it. A word about that though, since you guys are thinking about grad school potentially, maybe not right now, maybe you're gonna accept those offers and go into industry. What I want you to think about though, if you ever think that you're going to go back to school within the next 5 years or so, take your GMAT or GRE now as your student. Okay, your score is good for a while. Even though MSTM, I'm just talking from personal experience, don't wait, because you're in study mode right now. You guys are test taking, you're doing all of this stuff, the material is fresh. Don't wait. Don't wait for 3 years. It's gonna be so much harder. So think about that, get out of the way. Okay. So everyone always wants to know what this program costs. Oh, I'm seeing a horrified face over here.
Big number.
It is a big number. It is a big number. So this year, this is what our students are paying. So a little over 48, well, around 48 and a half, okay? This is for the entire degree program, okay? All semesters, all tuition, all fees, program fees, university fees, the whole kit and caboodle right there. So in and out the door, okay? It's exactly the same for all students. It doesn't matter if you're in state, if you're out of state, if you're international, if you're from Mars. We don't care, okay? Everybody pays the same. So graduate business education tuition is structured quite differently from the rest of the university. At Illinois, I'm sure it's probably the same at other institutions as well. So we assess this 20% in the summer and then 40-40 in the fall and spring. Okay, that's kind of how it's broken out. We do have some scholarships available. However, unfortunately, to the detriment of most of you in this room, they're only available to Illinois residents. That's the only time we can start to consider people for the scholarships. So I know most of you are not from Illinois. This table might be like, maybe, but sorry to tell you, yeah. Any questions about this before I move on? Yes.
Not so much about the cost, but maybe more on the format. I know sometimes master's programs will allow you to still do working while you take it. Like, how does that work? Like, because I wasn't sure if any of the classes were outlined where maybe you take some classes in the evening or on the weekends, or you just go to school with you.
Yes, that's a great question. It is very, very structured. So since it's in a cohort format and our students, our MSTM students take the same classes, we offer classes exclusively to MSTM students at certain times of the day, and we lay the format out for the students structure-wise. So students do work, but it's very minimal because most master's programs are 2 years, and we're packing this into one. So think about the intensity of that. Most of our students, if they do choose to work, do 10 hours a week. Some, and I don't know how, they must be crazy or just so incredibly driven. They'll do like 15 to 20 with combined different, commitments that they have, either work-wise or other things that they're involved in. So that's probably 10 hours a week is the comfortable number. Unfortunately, we have lots of people who are working full-time that want to go through this program, and it's like, why would you no one can do 2 full-time jobs? I mean, this is very much a full-time job. So there are really not night or evening or weekend classes per se that you can take. It is mostly during the day, and sometimes students look at the schedule and they're like, oh, that's not so bad. I'm gonna have lots of free time. Well, when you're not in class, you're with your team. So you're doing your team-based projects. A lot of the assessments are made on a team basis. So you do spend a ton of time with your team even when you're not in the classroom. So we always try to caution people about that. Good question. Yes, thank you. All right. So I get a lot of questions about the difference between this program and an MBA program. So I don't know if that's on the minds of any of you, but I thought I would just address it here. Certainly our MBA program is part of our College of Business. And so, we collaborate with each other, but I do want to point out where our programs actually diverge, okay? So as I mentioned, MSTM is 1 year, in and out, right? 40 credit hours. An MBA at Illinois, anyway, you're looking at 2 years, could be a little bit longer, depends on the path that you take, okay? MSTM is obviously much more technology focused with the curriculum. You guys took a peek at the curriculum, so you saw that. MBA is a much more general business degree, so if any of you really love marketing or some area of business like that you are so interested in, MBA might be a much better fit for you because you have the flexibility to sort of concentrate in some of those different areas where you don't necessarily have that ability with MSTM. With that said, new for the next year, we do have concentrations that we're offering to MSTM students. So this is brand new, so we don't really have much information out on the website about it, and I may not even be able to answer a lot of questions about it because we're just defining the process of how this will be. But the 3 concentrations are supply chain management, corporate governance and international business, and information technology and control. We're working on a 4th that I'm most excited about. It's not approved yet, so don't anybody get excited in this room. I'm the only one that can get excited about it, and that's in data analytics. So that would be a nice pairing with the MSTM degree, but that one's not available yet. okay? And so there could be some variability in the structure of the curriculum that I showed you earlier, depending on if you wanted to do a concentration in one of those areas. You might swap out a few classes here or there, depending on what your choices are. So just kind of putting that out there. MSTM compared to MBA, it's a smaller, more intimate class. So it's cohort-based. As I mentioned, you move through the entire thing with your classmates. MBA is much different. So you kind of have lots of moving parts. Everybody's doing different things. You have first-year MBAs, second-year MBAs. So if that's the kind of experience that you're after, that might be a better option. You know, they're just two different types of experiences. There's a difference in cost, which you can see up here. But the thing that I want to talk about the most is the opportunity cost. And this is true for any master's program that you think about. When you look at one-year masters or accelerated masters versus two-year masters, it's opportunity cost, okay? So when you graduate in 1 year, you're in and out and you're in the workforce or in your career, in your job, making that salary 1 year sooner. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but when you crunch the numbers and you look at your salary and how you compound raises and promotions and all of that stuff over time, 1 year makes a difference, okay? Something to think about. The other major difference between the two programs is that MSTM is STEM classified, as I mentioned earlier, MBA is not. All right. So you guys have heard me talk about this and ramble on. I'm going to show you a very quick video just to give you an idea of the program. I think we're missing the audio here. We can hear the music, but not the words.
I can hear something.
Yes, they retard, yeah. While she's monkeying with that, you guys have questions for me so far? Yes, sir.
I have one question.
Sure.
So you said the program is cohort-based.
Yes.
And it's a lot of time management skills. But let's say if one person does not succeed in those time management skills, how can they proceed in the program? Do they just drop out, or like what happens in that sense?
Since I have been with the program and in we have not had anybody drop out of the program. Okay. We try to make sure that everybody's going to be successful before we admit you. Okay. Obviously, we can't always measure that, but being part of a team is navigating that. So some people aren't great with time management, and they need to actually work on those skills. And so being part of a team and setting what those expectations look like with the team members is a big deal. So that's part of it. Because when you're, and I'm sure Andrew knows, I don't know if you work in teams at all in your position, you know that not everybody has the same style and not everybody manages their projects the same way. And so navigating that stuff in the workforce is very much like what you're going to do in the MSTM program. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what happens, let's say if you fail a course, or let's say you have some family problems. What
Yeah,
happens when you like complete the program after? Can you like take longer than 1 year to actually?
We would do whatever it takes. If some sort of emergency were to come up and a student had to miss a good portion of the semester, we would try to help that student through, okay? Like I said, since I've been there, we've not had anybody not complete. We've had students we've had one or two that really performed quite poorly because they didn't take it as seriously as they should have. But with lots of coaching and helping, we saw them through the experience and they earned their degree at the end. But those types of things are not usually very typical. But I mean, we do what we can as a program to try to help. I mean, with lots of international students, if something happens in a family or someone has to travel back to their home country for, things like a wedding or you know, God forbid, a funeral or something like that, the faculty members are usually really, really understanding. And as a program, we try to help the student facilitate those types of things so that they can take care of their business. We understand that life does not just stop just because you're a student. So, yeah, does that help answer your question? Okay.
We tried, I don't know if it was anything I might be able to control, but we refreshed the patient time and the audio is like from that should be good.
Okay. Oh, darn it. Well,
Maybe try forward it a little bit and see if it works.
sure, I can try that. Should I do voiceover?
Maybe that's like
Well,
Go meet the video.
Yeah, I know.
well, I'll explain. This is happening in our business building. These are our classrooms, some of our faculty members, a couple of our students talking about their experience and stuff. The pictures of this stuff is obviously our team building that I talked about earlier. I wish you could hear their messages.
Maybe if you click CC, close caption.
Oh. You guys want to read it? Should I start it over?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Oh, this isn't accurate. No. No. Oh, this is bad, you guys.
Such a little like.
If you YouTube the video and stuff, like,
It's okay. We don't. It's all right. Yeah, no, that's all right. So, I'm really sorry this didn't work. Technology management at its finest, right? So, this is actually on the homepage of the NOBE website. So you guys can go out there and check it out if you want to see it. But it's cool because you see a wide variety of our students. These are students from last year, and you kind of get a little bit of their perspective. They came from different backgrounds. And so, you know, they talk about the program, obviously. Okay, so just to wrap up, oh, that's not mine. Okay. Here is information. I know I handed out folders, and it has our brochure in there. And so the website, the links or the address for our website is on there. The one thing I do want to point out in the back of that brochure is we have application deadlines that are no longer valid. So that's an older brochure, and we changed actually our whole application process. So you can just ignore those dates. We're accepting applications through May 1st for graduate track students. So, so you have some time still, okay? Here's our information. So this is me. So you guys have my business card, but we also have Jeff, which I know our Illinois people have met Jeff before. And we have a couple other people in the program that work exclusively with MSTM, Francis and Heather. I work with other master's programs, so I'm spread out a little bit more, but certainly this is what I do. This is a big part of what I do. So I am happy to answer any questions that you guys have. We can answer them now. If you go back to your institutions and you say, hey, I think my NOBE chapter would really, really benefit from knowing about this program, and you guys want me to Skype in and do a presentation like this, or whatever you think, I'm happy to do that. You just let me know. So you guys can kind of make up your own minds if you think that this is interesting or has value or whatever, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay? Any questions? Yes, of course you do. I love it.
Does your admission process involve an interview?
Not typically, but we will if we feel like we don't have enough information from the applicant with the materials that they, put in. So sometimes the reference letters, and the student has no control over this, but sometimes the reference letters aren't telling enough, or sometimes the essays might be lacking a little bit. We just feel like we need some more information. But as a standard, no, we don't interview everybody, but we will if if we feel like we could benefit by chatting with that person one-on-one. So good question. Yeah. Yes.
Going back to your curriculum slide where you showed all the classes.
Yes.
Could you explain what a zero credit class is?
Yes. So Frontiers is something that the students have to take, but they don't have a grade on the line for it. So everybody has to participate in it, but they don't. There's not a grade that factors into their GPA. Yes. Good question.
Also, you talked about the how the terms are broken down, and then finance and accounting. Are the students taking those as a full semester class, and then they do 2 rotations within the semester?
I'm not sure what you mean.
So there's finance and accounting are 8-week courses.
Those are full 16
Oh,
weeks.
16-week courses.
Yes.
Right. So then the other classes that are 2 credits or smaller, they do 8 weeks, and then you start the next rotation.
Yes.
But continuously taking the finance class.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. So you've kind of got your 2 8-week classes groups in a semester, and then your full accounting or your full finance. Yes, good question. Anything else you guys want to know? Yes? No, I thought, no. Oh, I got all excited. So how does this, yes?
So sorry.
No, you're fine.
All of the trips, about how many trips would you go on? Either campus visits or speakers visits or things. Was that just in history, or is it multiple year?
It's many per year. So Frontiers happens on Fridays. So your classes are going to happen Monday through Thursday, and then Frontiers in Technology is what happens on Friday. And so many Fridays, it's a morning with a guest speaker or something like that, but it's usually every Friday. Sometimes with exception, if there's not something in the schedule, which isn't very typical, there's usually something every Friday. Most of the time it's stuff on campus where we're bringing speakers to the students. And sometimes it's companies and sometimes there's networking stuff. So Deloitte comes and talks to students, and then we have a networking lunch afterwards. So it's that kind of stuff. And then once or twice per semester, we'll do sort of a regional field trip. So depending Caterpillar or FlexEngage or some of the other companies that are within reason. They've done Chicago in the past, not since I've been there, but just depends on kind of what the students want and what the interests are. So couple per semester, and then the big San Francisco trip in the spring. And then if we do if we do Austin, that one would be sometime over winter break. So yeah. What else? Yeah.
Is the cost for the trips included in the program or not?
The cost for the trips are included in the program with the exception of San Francisco. Since that's an optional trip, that's something that the students, if they choose to go, I think it runs around $1,000 to go, but that's heavily subsidized by the program. The nice thing is that we get, all kinds of university group rates and all of that kind of stuff since we're traveling as a big pack of people. So that works to the benefit of the students, definitely. So $1,000 for a week in San Francisco is pretty cheap compared to maybe what you would have to do on your own. So good question. Yeah. What else? You guys are probably tired of me talking. Yeah.
You might have had the numbers of the slides, but did you say you get more of your graduate track or your experience track? Which has a greater class?
In terms of the number of people in the class or the number of applicants?
Both.
Both? Okay. So this year we have 51 in the graduate track, and we have 56 in the advancement track. So it just worked out. I mean, they're similar, just a few more in the advancement track. We, like I said, to meet the demand this year, we're going to try to admit 60 to 65 in each track. So we're adding some more seats. Application-wise, I'd say it's probably pretty even. We get about 500 or so applications per year. We probably have a few more applications for our advancement track than we do our graduate track, but not by many. So it's usually fairly evenly split. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much for listening to me. It was a pleasure to be here. I'm glad I got the opportunity to come. And so, like I said, you guys all have my card. I'll stick around for a little while. You can ask me any questions. And if you want me to do something, with your chapter, just let me know. And I'm happy to do that. We can work that out and figure out what works best for you guys. All right? Okay, thank you so much.
All really nice travel water bottles, so we'll set those out. And we had an afternoon snack get delivered. I know our lunch was like a little bit later, but I don't know if all of you remember, but Insomnia Cookies donated a bunch of cookies for us, so we have those out there. I know we're going to get ready to kick off the afternoon with national presentation and a whole bunch of elections and everything. So I'll bring the water bottles out by the cookies, so you can grab one of those, grab the cookies, and finish off the afternoon. So thank you once again, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. I forgot to tell you guys, could you fill out that information card in your packet? Would you mind? Could you guys fill out that information card in your packet?
Well, let's see. Yeah. Okay, so let's.